Good morning and welcome to Santa Cruz. You're watching the O'Neill Coldwater Classic, day 2 of the waiting period here November 2nd, Friday morning. It's a bit brisk here in the air and all the best surfers in the world are having to go on the lineup in an early free surf session as we anticipate a possible start to day 2 of competition. Joe Drapel alongside former tour competitor John Schmuka. Schmoot, good morning and welcome back down to Steamer Lane.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. It is a little bit brisker than it was yesterday morning, a little bit colder, but the sun is out. The waves, well, they're not so out. They're a little bit inconsistent, and we're going to get the official call very soon, but it's a beautiful day here in Santa Cruz.
Absolutely gorgeous. We have seen some good moments. John Florence had a good morning warm-up surf out there. A lot of the guys have been ripping. Josh Kerr just ripped one to shreds all the way down to the beach, but officials are really looking for consistency out there to see if we will have another go in competition today.
Well, it's an important round. I mean, we saw yesterday, and we'll talk a lot about that on the morning show today. A lot of the favored surfers, a lot of the high seeds lost. One in particular is Kelly Slater. So round 2 has never been more important for a lot of these guys chasing a world title than it is in this event.
Pretty crazy to see what happened yesterday. Let's check out what happened in round 1 and really dive into that story of upsets on the opening day of the waiting period. We had that west-northwest come to the table, and we got contest on first thing in the morning, and it was all of a sudden the guys with the red jerseys and the high seats going down to guys like Pat Gudauskas, who put on a show.
Yeah, definitely, taking out John Florence was a big win for him, and John, first year on tour, already chasing a world title, but Pat Gudauskas, got the better of him.
Pat Gudauskas had good change-ups on the inside, threw a lot of variety and flair into the package here at Steamer Lane, and even with Heitor Alves using his air game, it wasn't enough to catch Pat G. Big moment here for Heitor. This was his best wave, where he packaged a couple of big turns out the back and then went for the rotator on the inside.
Yeah, no one really surfed bad yesterday. It just came down to that second better wave, and in this particular heat, it was Pat Gudauskas. As you see that big rotator there from Heitor Alves, just didn't ride out of this one, but had he done so, actually he did ride out of that one. There was one before he didn't. He just needed a backup score, and this guy right here, he didn't surf. He surfed great.
Oh, he had an absolute smoker of a heat, but Dusty Payne's always a guy that seems to have Mick Fanning's number. We've seen it over in Hawaii, and he does it again here at Steamer Lane. Mick seems to bring the best surfing out of Dusty. Dusty didn't pull that big move, but he was on all the right waves at the right time. Mick started posing a big comeback, though, here. We thought he was going to take control again.
Well, we did. It was sort of a seesaw battle between Mick and Dusty, and, Dusty coming off that long time on the sideline. Look at that. The Phantom camera just really lets people see how well these guys transition from turn to turn. And Dusty Payne, he looks, he's found great form.
I like Dusty's position now. In the back half of the season, had a lot of time off in the beginning. Now he's acting like a little bit of a wild card spoiler role, and sending Mick Fanning to the second round was a big theme, but maybe the upset of the entire day was the heat with Kelly Slater, Kolohe Andino, and Nat Young Schmoo.
And again, Kelly ripped this heat, but it was Nat Young utilizing his local knowledge and, really nothing to lose attitude, and he went on with it. Kolohe really, he didn't find his feet too much in this heat. He did pull off some moves of brilliance, but this guy right here, since that change of equipment in the trials, he just ripped and tore the whole heat.
Well, the judging panel always is going to love these backside hooks from Nat Young because he puts a lot of commitment in him, puts him on rail, and he's always able to find a finish, even on this one, all the way through the inside. Important little hack on the inside section. All of Santa Cruz was just lighting him up off the cliffs. High fives for days. He was saying that was just a dream experience, drawing his hero and icing on the cake to take the win. Then we saw another big roll from Yaden Nicol from Western Australia.
Yeah, Yaden was up against, of course, Owen Wright, who is, consistently in those final days. But Yaden really put on a brilliant performance out here at Steamer Lane. He really looked comfortable. The equipment, obviously, we've been talking about that. It looked great under his feet. And, the variety of maneuvers, well, that's what took him to the win.
These waves were cornering for him on this inside bowl. Crucial surfing here for Yaden Nicol, because also with Owen Wright, he had the defending Coldwater Classic champion Miguel Pupo in this heat, but looked lightning fast, and he was just so happy to get a heat full of waves. The consistency was probably up at its peak during that heat, and he really took advantage of it. But how was the start from Travis Logie in the next heat?
Well, yeah, you know, Travis is fighting for a spot on tour next year, so he knew he really needed to put on a show. And this first wave, a 9.10, was a great way to start. He was going lightning fast and doing some big maneuvers. But Jeremy Flores, I mean, I tell you what, it was a close one. We actually dissected this one at home last night, and it was close. You know, it could have went either way. But look at that phantom camera, beautiful top turn, throwing a lot of spray. Jeremy Flores, the Frenchie, just doing his thing.
We gotta love that. That was the best back-to-back opening exchange we had that entire morning, and Jeremy Flores was representing the red shirts again, and it was Travis Logie taking that win with representing the underdogs and set up round 2 in a massive way. We've got that great morning light here on day 2, and we're anticipating some massive things in the second round, and I think it might be time, Shmoo, to get that official call. Sage Erickson is downstairs bright and early with our contest director, Chris Gallagher. Good morning, Sage.
Hi, guys. Yeah, I'm down here with Chris. You know, Chris, give us a little insight on how the conditions are, what the call is, and what the day kind of seems to be unfolding.
Well, for now, this is probably about as good as it's going to be today. And we've got some pretty important heats coming up. So we're just going on hold till 8:30 just to kind of see if something comes in. But, you know, we're thinking probably a late A. We want to make sure that this second round goes off in some good surf. But we're just going to keep an eye on it, and we'll let people know around 8:30.
Great. So that's just, you know, a little information on what the morning's looking like down here in beautiful Santa Cruz. We're, you know, looking for a late A, and we'll just have to see what's going to happen. Back to you, boys.
Thank you very much, Sage. Always great to hear from you and our contest director, Chris Gallagher, 2-time Coldwater Classic champion. And Shmoo, he just mentioned there's some pretty important heats coming up today in round 2. And if this is good, it's going to get, they don't want to just send them out and then have the ocean back off, especially with that high tide looming right among us here.
Well, absolutely. There's 2 things you got to consider. The guys who are fighting for a spot on their tour in 2013 and the world title race. I mean, you know, it's Chris being a former competitor, I think is one of the best things about this event. He knows how important round 2 is. It's probably the most important round 2 in the entire year.
A big one here as we see Kai Otten come up. He was one of the big spoilers yesterday, sending Adriano de Souza, the high red jersey, into the second round as well. So it's packed with red jerseys in this second round as they're going to try to get into round 3, including this guy, 2-time world champ, Mick Fanning, is going to really have a serious free surf, and he always likes to share his opinion on whether he wants to go. One thing we do have to note, though, Shmoo, Joel Parkinson was a guy who was successful on the opening day.
Well, Joel Parkinson, in the first 10 seconds of his first round, he dialed into an absolute bomb of a wave, probably one of the biggest waves ridden all day yesterday. You know, he smelt blood in the water, and he just went on with it. He attacked every wave with as much purpose as you possibly could have, and he just ripped every wave he rode. And, you know, he looked comfortable doing it. He didn't look like there was any pressure, any jet lag, anything whatsoever that was bothering. The only thing on his mind was to get out there and win that heat.